Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. And the Tories have made an announcement that I'm sure will cause conniption fits all through the left of British politics. But I have a feeling that the general public will be very, very for it. It seems the Tories are learning the lesson about immigration. About bloody time, considering what's happened and considering the Afghanistani things that have been going on I mentioned earlier today. But Chris Philp has made an announcement, did a little press conference, and said that he and Kemi had been talking very deeply and they've come up with a plan. And that is that all these, what he describes as grooming gang monsters, born in Britain, could be deported. In other words, just because you were born here doesn't make you safe from deportation. We do not want your sort in this country. And so if you're from a heritage that's not British, you're going to be returned to where that heritage originated. They said they want to leave no stone unturned in the pursuit of justice. She said people like rapists with dual nationality should definitely be stripped of their British citizenship and removed from the country. And this includes dual nationals born in the UK. I would go so far as to say anyone, even if they were purely British citizen, should be looked at and said, well, you're third generation, insert country, that's where you go back to. We used to be able to put people out of the country, didn't they? Banish them. I think we should bring banishment back as a punishment as well. But she declared that this is a national emergency. Immigration crime is now a national emergency and it needs a national inquiry. We must leave no turn unstone, she said, adding that mosques could be ordered to cooperate and give evidence on threat of being closed. Wow, she's brave, isn't she? And we need that. You know, if she's prepared to come out and say that, who knows? She might just start winning friends and influencing people. She said we must investigate councils, the police, even the government. It must be time limited and it must consider the role of ethnicity, religion and other cultural factors. She said Baroness Louise Casey's own report admitted that many of these cases are committed by people of Asian and Pakistani ethnicities. Pakistani is Asian, Kemi, do keep up. She said her own report said that those who downplay the ethnicity of perpetrators are continuing to let down society, local communities and victims. We must agree. We must highlight where this is happening. Where is the predominant cause? And then go and sort out the problem. There's no point looking at all this and saying, oh, it must be little white old men sitting in a council estate in Rill, when it clearly isn't. That's not to say that white people don't do it, of course. But on this scale, 99% is one group. That's the group you target. That's the group you stop. And that's the group you send home. She said, I've spoken to many survivors. We're speaking on their behalf. It is the thing. If your neighbour turns up drink driving, the police don't take your car away, do they? And that's how we've got to look at this. We can't do everything across the whole of society. We look to where the problem is and we deal with that part of society that's causing the problem. And yes, if we have to group them all and we have to racial profile, that's fine. One of the best ways of saving young black men's lives is to racial profile young black men for knife searches. And they go, oh, but you're racially profiling. Yes, but one of the upshots of racial profiling of young black men for knife crime is the amount of young black men's lives you will save. And so there is a place for racial profiling. And when you get the data and evidence sussed that, that young white girls of working class background are predominantly threatened by Pakistani Muslim rape gangs, then where do you go looking? And how do you deal with the problem? The courts are dealing with this problem every day by sometimes jailing them, sometimes not. But everyone's too scared. Everyone in authority is too scared because, we might be seen as racist. No. First of all, Islam is not a race. And secondly, race has no bearing in justice. Justice is blind. You arrest these monsters and you punish them. And if you can, you throw them out of the country. You make sure they never come back. And personally, I would just make sure they could never do it again. You know what I mean? I'm very much off with the ghoulies kind of guy. But they said these survivors have been devastated, their lives ruined, the lives of them and their families' lives ruined, turned upside down. So this inquiry must go ahead, it must be full, it must be all encompassing, and it must look everywhere. And everyone involved must be found out what their involvement is, and at various levels punished. Everyone must be punished. And I think she's right. And I think if we have to build special jails just to put these people in, I mean, imagine that. Imagine one big jail, 10,000, holding 10,000 people, and you just fill it with anyone who's raped, anyone who's assisted in the rape, everyone who's covered up the rape, the police, the local government, the politicians, everyone. Fill it and let them all just survive. Just throw in food every now and again. They're never getting out. Just keep them there. Just keep them in. Let them build their own society. See how long it lasts. It was like rats in a sack, wouldn't it? But the 200-page bombshell report by Louise Casey concluded crimes committed by Pakistan and Asian grooming gangs were covered up to avoid inflaming community tensions. Yes, but now we all know, and the community tensions are inflamed. And the more this goes on, and the more it's covered up, and the more the government stop these inquiries going ahead, the worse it's going to get. And there will be a civil war. And the great thing about the civil war in this country, when it does come, is that, the enemy is obvious. The only problem is there can be an awful lot of innocent people caught up in it. People who aren't involved, but who look like the people who are involved. And I'm afraid that is likely to happen. Don't want it to. It's wrong. I completely see why it would happen, though. But it's going to be very violent. The only way it can stop is if the government, the police, the judiciary, everyone actually gets off their arses and says, right, enough's enough. We're going to go in and do this and make sure 10,000 of them, however many is involved, every single one, arrested, punished and kicked out. And whether they were born here or not, out they go. We don't want child rapists in the country. Oh, but I was born here. Don't give a shit. Fuck off back to Pakistan and you can rape as many children over there as you like. But not this country. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, that's a very racist thing to say. Oh, sending them back to where they came from. No, I'm not sending them back to where they came from. I'm sending them back to a culture that they have chosen to absorb and indulge themselves. If that's the culture they come from, give them back to their culture. They'll enjoy it. They'll love it. But we don't want that culture of child rape here. Unfortunately, we've got a government, and this is the problem. The real enemy is the government, because the government are doing nothing, because the government are running absolutely shit scared. You have to ask why. Why are the governments so scared? Who knows? We need balls. We need people with balls. We need a party that's prepared to do it. Now, if Kemi is prepared to do what she's saying, I'll tip my hat to her. But it would involve her becoming back into power. And I don't think the Tories need to be in power for a long time. Not after it was they who brought in all those Afghanis who are doing a lot of the work, a lot of the heavy lifting today in the rape of children. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks very much. Goodbye.